So a while back, I actually did a live talking about tarot and divination. So I figured I would like to put that into a video since most people don't want to sit through an hour-long live replay. So let's talk about it. A lot of people make the false assumption that the tarot were intended for divination. They're not. They're used for divination, as are many things. Here's the thing. You can use multiple things for divination to look for signs or symbols and things to help guide you or guide others. It could be bones or sticks, dice, cards of any kind, including bicycle playing cards, which we'll talk about in a few, or things like the runes. The runes is actually an alphabet, but people have used it for divination. The tarot cards themselves, when they were originally created, and I'm going to share a whole bunch of links and sites. I probably should have written this down. So like the first tarot deck, this will be one of the sites that I post down below. The first tarot deck was from 1425 in Italy, and it was a playing card game. There's actually rules you can still find. Some of them might be modern adaptations and recreations of the rules, but there are rules online for how to use the tarot in the actual card game they were designed for. In 1909, we have the Rider-Waite Tarot deck, which is one of the most popular and famous decks that started to be used for divination specifically, and I believe the Rider-Waite deck was specifically designed for divination and not for playing the tarot card game. I believe the original name of the game was called Tarocchi or something along those lines. I don't speak Italian. But I believe the original card game was something like Tarocchi or Tarok, and it's a trick game like capturing cards and using like the face values and different various games, kind of like Game of War. And there's various different types of games, just like with bicycle playing cards. There's not just one type of card game. You have a multitude of card games. But like many things, when it comes to things that are older or recreated or reconstructed with modern movements, people have a tendency to say this is specifically for this purpose. So when we talk about reading cards and when we talk about divination, divination is a way of looking to signs or symbols for guidance or information. People can use a multitude of things and signs and omens in nature. They can do gazing, like crystal gazing or water gazing, or they can work with different types of objects. One popular type is what's referred sometimes as cartomancy. And mancy, those who are not familiar, again, I'll send links of this as well. Mancy actually means divination. It comes from a Greek word meaning divination, which is interesting because in a lot of modern fiction, because we're introduced to this stuff through fiction or through stories or through hearsay, or someone in the family picked up some tarot cards and read the book from the Rider-Waite on how to use it for divination, and that's how they share it with other people. But you see stuff in fiction like necromancy. Mancy is still divination. So necro or dead divination, divining with the dead. So it's technically speaking with the dead, but people think of a necromancer in video games and fiction as somebody who raises the dead in a way to speak to them, but they think of this army of undead minions. So again, just because you have this perception based upon the way it's been introduced to you doesn't mean it's 100% accurate, which is why I always encourage people to look into this stuff. Now, I don't always remember my sources. I started looking into this stuff back in 95, roughly, at least somewhere in the mid-90s, and I started reading books, talking to other people. We learned this stuff from somewhere, which is why I like to share links. The links I shared below are stuff that I found, either took notes on recently or looked up right before I made this video, just to kind of back up some of the theories and thoughts that I'm sharing in this video. And I think that's important. So many people just try to share their wisdom and knowledge as if they've always known it, or they act like they're the authority and the source is them, and that's not the case. People learned it from somewhere. They learned it from reading books or speaking with other people or doing research through articles or other videos, and I think it's important to acknowledge that and share those sources so folks can go check it out for themselves and decide if they want to believe it or not. And when it comes to a topic like tarot, which are very popular, people have a tendency to get very defensive. There's a lot of people who are tarot readers, and they 100% full-heartedly believe in the power of divination through using the tarot, and they look at the tarot as purely a tool of divination, and there's no card game with it, and it's disrespectful. I've known people who buy tarot cards, wrap them in black cloth, let no one else touch them unless you're doing a reading, and they only touch them for the reading for that person, and you're supposed to cleanse them in between uses. They're a very sacred tool for a lot of modern practitioners of some form of See, I always want to say like neo-paganism, but it doesn't matter. Like there's even Christians who do tarot card readings. It doesn't matter the spiritual path. It's the fact that people work with cartomancy in some form, and those individuals hold them in very high regard, and they hold them as being sacred. And I'm not trying to diminish their sacredness to those folks, and I'm not saying don't respect them, but I think it's important to know the history and origin of where things came from. So that's my few thoughts. And there's other things too here with like stuff like the bicycle tarot cards, like I said, like tarot cards. The cartomancy that you can do with normal playing cards and having meaning for the different symbols and shapes on here. As far as I know, when I had, and I don't have a link or a website for this, but I remember reading somewhere that there were the Romani, the traveling people refer to them sometimes as gypsies. They would do divination, and I don't think a lot of them had tarot. They had bicycle playing cards. So again, their cartomancy, which might not have been a term that they used, it's a term we can use today to reading or divination with cards. They use what was available to them in front of them. And when you had the Rider-Waite deck, when it was specifically designed for divination and sold with instructions on how to do different layouts for divination and how to read the cards. There's a couple spreads. There's like the classic spread, which I forget the exact number of cards, but you like have the side cards and there's like the plus in the middle and there's all this different stuff, and each position of the card represents something specific. Or you could do a 3-card draw, past, present, and future. Like there's a whole bunch of different ones, and there's different names for the layouts and stuff. There's a variety, but they're built to speak to that reader. And sometimes people will refer to the books, and a lot of readers will say you start out by reading the books and what the meaning is. Others will just look at the image and what it means to them or what comes to them from looking at the card, kind of like using the inner sight or vision. So there's like a lot of different ways to work with this stuff, but just be aware and know that when people are building stuff, they are inventing it. They're finding ways of working with stuff. And if symbols are designed for them, such as the Rider-Waite, those specific imagery for a particular purpose like divination, it might be closer related or closer adhered to. So just saying that the original tarot were designed for playing card games doesn't mean that you should look at every tarot deck as just a card game deck. There's a purpose behind the printing or the imagery used for this particular deck. And even though you can still use it for vice versa, just like you can take normal playing cards and still do readings with them, be respectful of people's paths. So there's some information with a little bit of a disclaimer that just beware, people have their own mind and thoughts of it. So with that being said, this is where I ask for engagement. Go into the comments below, let me know. A couple things. Do you use tarot cards? If you do, in what way, fashion, or capacity do you use them? If you do not use tarot cards, have you at least heard of them? And do you have opinions on the tarot? After letting me know if you use them or not. Sometimes people have opinions about things that they've never even attempted or tried. And that's fine. You're allowed to have your opinion. But I'm kind of curious what your thoughts are. Are tarot a divinatory tool? Are they used for gaming? Are they both? Do you believe in them? Do you not believe in them? Is it all BS? Is it sacred? What are your thoughts? Share them below. I look forward to reading your comments, and I will catch you in the next one. As always, thank you for watching. And remember, your path is your own. Just understand where things come from. Don't just take things at face value. That's my advice.